Hello and welcome to revision classes on television. Today we will be having a session in English language. Our guide is Ekruke Joy and our topic today is comprehension, an important aspect of English examination.
Before we get into the passage, we'll be looking at another definition of comprehension. Comprehension is the ability of the mind to understand completely and to perceive the ideas, situation, facts, and information contained in a given text. Now, from this definition, we're going to be considering two things in this definition. We will consider understand completely, to grasp totally. Then we'll also consider perceive. For total understanding to take place, you must consider the things that are contained, the information, the facts that are contained in the passage. We know that we are advised to use only 30 minutes on this section. So the instruction says, read the following passage carefully and answer the questions on it. So I'll pray you give attention to what I have to read through. Now, I also want to remind us that before, as a candidate is in an exam hall, before you go through the passage, try as much as possible to go through your questions. This will help you while reading through the passage to be able to focus your mind on the things that are the things that the questions require that you do. Let us quickly go to the passage. When I was in primary 4, 35 years ago, school closed for the day at 1:30 p.m. My two friends and I would then proceed for full recreation as we either played football in hidden neighborhoods or went downstream to swim till dusk. The reprimands and occasional spankings we got from our mothers could not deter us. Our youthful adventurous spirit would not be suppressed. We were resolute in our desire to be free of what we thought were too many chores. As far as we were concerned, that should be the preserve of the female gender. One day, we went fishing in a stream on the outskirts of the village. After we had our fill of entertainment playing football, we each caught some fish, but were not satisfied. We wanted crabs. which we could sell on our way back home to augment the meager money for recess that each of us got when going off to school every day. We caught 2 big crabs from the first 2 holes we dug before going for a third. Convinced we had dug deep enough, the eldest of us dipped his right hand into the hole that was about 3/4 filled with water, and soon reported excitedly that he had made a big catch. As he dragged it to the surface, we screamed in sudden terror. The big catch was the fleshy middle part of a shimmering black snake. No one waited for the other as we scrambled for safety, leaving our catch behind. The boy slapped frantically through the water, falling over twice before reaching us on the bank of the stream. None of us ventured back, more for fear of the snake than the dusk that had suddenly descended on the village. When I got home, I met mother, my 2 siblings, and some anxious relations at the doorstep. They were about setting out to comb the entire village since their previous search to my school, my mates' homes, and the few playground in the village had been futile. The concerned look on my mother's face told me I had stirred up an honest nest and should be prepared for the sting. My muddy legs and hands betrayed the lie I had hurriedly cooked up. I got the beating of my life, first from mother, then father, who came into the house, and upon being told what had happened, went straight for the thick rubber he had wound around his bicycle carrier for tying loads. This is the end of the passage. Now we're going to quickly look at the questions on this passage. The first question, question A, B, and C are question A and B are good examples of recall questions. Question A and B are examples of recall questions. So we want to look at these questions. Question A, it reads, state 2 reasons why the writer and his friends always came home late. Remember, I told us that a recall question is a question that is clearly stated in the passage. Okay? The answer to this question are there in the information you have there. And remember that you are not to lift it verbatim. You are to make sure you write them down in your own words. Another thing I also want to bring to mind is this. Here, the question says, state 2, just 2. Do not give below 2 and do not give more than 2, because this will cost you mark if you go against the instruction. Now we quickly look at the possible answer to this question. I'll quickly take us to the paragraph where these answers could be found. We have paragraph 1. Here it said, my 2 friends and I would then proceed for full recreation as we either played football in hidden neighborhoods or went downstream to swim till dusk. That is to say that they will always stay late because they want to play football. From there you derive your answer. Then the next point there is, in the same paragraph, we were resolute in our desire to be free of what we thought were too many chores. So they wanted to avoid chores. Question B is another recall question. Why did the boys get home late on that fateful day? Now, why did they get home on that fateful day? I want us to go to the passage where we got this answer from. Remember that we're dealing with a passage, a comprehension passage, and I told us that every answer to all the questions are contained in the passage. Okay, so I'll take us to question B. Here is on paragraph 2. One day we went fishing in a stream on the outskirts of the village after we had our fill of entertainment playing football. That is the first point here. Then we each caught some fish but were not satisfied. We wanted crabs, which we could sell on our way back home to augment the meager money for recess that each of us got when going off to school every day. Okay, you see that this is the answer to that. So we have two answers why the boys will always get home late. Why they got home late on that fateful day. We'll go to the next question. The next questions are question C, D, and E. Questions requiring inference involves implied meaning. Okay, you deduct your meaning from the information that are given in that passage. It is not something that is explicitly stated in the passage. You derive your meaning. You derive your answer from the information you have there. So we look at question C now. Now from the passage we read, you come to know that there is no place we were told that the boys realized or they did not realize. Now the question is saying this: why did they not realize that it was getting dark? I will quickly take us to where we can get this answer from. The information stated in the passage where this answer is derived from. And this answer is derived from paragraph 3 of the passage. Paragraph 3 of the passage. I told us that we pick our answer from paragraph 3, where it states, we each caught some fish, but were not satisfied. We wanted crabs, which we could sell on our way back home to augment the meager money for a cents that each of us got when going off to school every day. Now, if you look at that and the last thing there, it said, none of us ventured back more for fear of the snake than the dusk that had suddenly descended on the village. He discovered that they were really engrossed into what they were doing in catching of fish and that of crabs. So they didn't even mind what is going on around them. So their interest is on that crab that they want to catch. So that is the answer to the question. We quickly go to question D. Remember, I told us earlier, do not give one answer or more than two as the instruction demands. Okay? Always give your answer according to the instruction in 1-2 ways. So we look at possible answer 2. Okay, our next question under inference, that is question E. Okay, now the possible answer to this question is the information to the answer is stated in paragraph 1, where what we have here says the reprimands and occasional spankings we got from our mother could not deter us. Okay, that is what gives rise to this answer. It is not clearly stated that the mother disapproves or how she demonstrates, disapproval towards the son's behavior. Behavior of what? Of coming home late. It is not clearly stated there. But from the information we have, you will see that you'll be able to derive your answer from the passage. Our next kind of question is question on figurative expression. Here, under figurative expression, there is always an expression that is being lifted. It could be under figures of speech or idioms. Okay? So we'll look at the expression quickly. The expression is Now, if you look at this expression now, the writer is comparing his action to that of the honestness, and also the consequences of his action to that of the sting that is going to receive. Okay, the sting. So he said, I had stirred up a honest nest and should be prepared for the sting. So when we talk about direct comparison without the use of like or as, we're talking about metaphor. We're talking about metaphor. Okay, so the expression used here, the figure of speech used here is simply the possible answer to the question here is the writer had looked for trouble and should be ready for the consequence, and or you can say the writer has looked for trouble and should be ready for the punishment.
You can subscribe to NTA series on YouTube to watch or download past episodes of revision classes on television. That's the much we can take on the program today. Do join us next time for another educating session.